Okay, it's Wednesday lunch again, and you're here with Dr. Nancy, and today I have Lisa Whitman with A Place to Float. So with these podcast videos, however you're listening to this, we're trying to help parents, raise healthy children. So in order to do that, you have to take care of yourself. So we were searching out some places for relaxation, and we came across Lisa's business, A Place to Float, and thought we'd have her come on and talk to us about floating. It's kind of a new thing that, I think maybe in the cities we're seeing it, but maybe some of our viewers that are out in the suburbs don't know much about this. So let's go ahead and have you just tell us what floating is, Lisa, and welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. So I am a very busy mom of 5 children. I have them ranging in age from 22 all the way down to 9. So I completely understand what it is to be a caretaker. I own 2 businesses, and trying to get everything done for everyone else and to care for everyone else seems to be the top of the list for most people. And you as a parent or a caretaker tends to fall to the bottom of the list. And so floating is a really simple way of kind of just rebooting your brain and your body and your mind and allowing you to show up as the best version of yourself so that you can then take care of others. We live in a culture and a climate that celebrates being busy all of the time. If you ask any of your friends, how are you doing? Almost invariably, everyone says, I'm so busy. I'm really, really busy. And we kind of use that as a crown of how ambitious we are, or how important things are that we're getting done. But what it doesn't speak to is how much we need that margin and that time for ourselves. So floating is an excellent way to quickly and easily, with absolutely no effort on your part, to be able to help reboot yourself and give you the margin so that you can be the best version of yourself.
So quickly then, how long are the sessions that?
So let me back up just a little bit, because most people, when you tell them about floating or float therapy, it's also been used as an isolation chamber, which sounds hideous, or a sensory deprivation, which sounds equally bad. We like to tell people that it's sensory enhancement, and it really helps to kind of clear the clutter out of your brain and your body and really help you focus on things that are most important. So it's 3 really simple things that you can get almost anywhere, but you can't get them together. And those subcutaneously. And it also allows you to reduce your inflammation. It helps with a lot of the metabolic processes in your body. And it just feels really good to be in that type of salt. It's different than ocean salt. It's actually magnesium sulfate. So the first thing is salt. And then the second thing is suspension. So outside of a non-gravity environment, going to the moon or doing one of those sky rides where they blow air at you and you float up into the, my kids did this, so not for me, but this is the type of non-gravity that I can handle. Your body is fully suspended because of all the salt. No one bottoms out. You can't be too large or have too big of a bone structure. You will always float with no problem. And by doing that, being suspended, it allows your body to get a deep stretch. It allows you to fully relax. There are no pressure points. Even in the most comfortable bed, you notice that you need to turn or twist. In a float tank or a float pool or pod, you don't ever have that sensation because your body is truly being uplifted and suspended. So salt and suspension. And the third thing is silence. Now, for busy parents, I know this is really unique because even if you think you're going into the bathroom to have some alone time, you're always going to have a knock on the door, or someone's going to be pushing note. My kids push their notes under the door, or they put their toes under the door to let me know that they're there. And like, I know where you are. So unless you can find a dark closet, this is the best way for you to truly unplug your phone, unplug from the people you love around you so that you have complete silence. People ask, do we float in the dark? Do we float without noise? And our recommendation, as scary as it initially seems, is yes. We recommend for your brain and for your body that you float in the way it's intended, which is in the silence and in the dark. And what that does is that actually helps foster that remedy of being in a place of salt and suspension and silence.
Is there any?
You asked about how long. I'm sorry, I didn't answer you.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Our float sessions are 1 hour long. People look at us like, you have got to be kidding me. What am I going to do for an hour? And it's true. For about the first 10 or 15 minutes, your monkey mind, because you are a busy parent, starts going a mile a minute. You're thinking, okay, did I remember oranges? And did I pack their lunch? And what is that field trip form I'm supposed to fill? I do this all the time when I'm in the float tank. But eventually what happens is your brain gets to a place where you're in a theta state, kind of that really great Sunday afternoon nap feel where you're not having anything on your to-do list and everyone's occupied, and your brain just kind of whoosh, and you kind of go into this beautiful meditative state that you try to get into most of the time when you're doing meditation, and I can't do it naturally, but this allows your brain to kind of flush out all of the extraneous things and allow your body and brain to rest for that 60 minutes.
Is there any contraindications, like pregnant women? Is there anybody that can't float?
I'm glad you asked that. We actually encourage pregnant women to float with the advice of their doctor, of course. And this holds true for anyone who's coming to float. If you have some health or medical challenges, or if you are pregnant or some other things, you'll want to talk with your physician or your chiropractor and just make sure that it's okay. But for pregnant women, we have heard from other women who have been pregnant, they say it's phenomenal. Here's the reason why. There's no pressure on your body, and you are kind of in your own, if I can use the word amniotic fluid, your own kind of pool to float in. And what that does is that allows you to feel your baby even more because there's no gravity holding you down. We actually have, if you want to float on your back, we've had a lot of people do that with great success, but we also have a float pad that if you want to turn over onto your stomach and just allow your belly to sink down so you get a really deep stretch, then we encourage that as well. And a lot of people have said that it's just an amazing, relaxing experience for pregnant mothers. The water's not too hot. The air temperature, it's not like going into a sauna or a hot tub. It's the perfect temperature for your skin and your body, and the water is all the same.
Wonderful. Well, we have a question. Bree is asking, she says it takes her a long time to turn off her brain during that initial float. She wants to know if there's any tips to speed up the process.
Yeah, it takes all of us a long time to turn off our brains. And that's why with floating, we actually recommend that you make it a practice, like anything. Exercise, nutrition, yoga, things like that take a while to get into. However, we do have some tips when you float for the very first time. Don't drink any caffeine for several hours before you come, because that, of course, accelerates your brain activity. And take some deep, calming breaths when you get into the float pod or the tank or the pool. Take some deep breaths and just kind of feel your body and allow your brain to go where it wants to for the first 10 or 15 minutes. And after that period of time, if you don't rush it, your brain will naturally take over, and it will allow all of those extraneous things to leave your brain and allow you to focus on what's the most important. But again, doing it a couple of times, sometimes your very first float, it feels weird, I'm not gonna lie, but it's so relaxing if you allow just whatever experience you have to be the experience and don't set any real expectations or benchmarks for yourself. Just enjoy the experience.
What's the youngest age that you can have float?
That's another frequently asked question. So of course, anyone who's under the age of 18, we need a parent's signature or a caretaker's signature. For children that are under the age of 12, we recommend that you have somebody in the float room with you, supervising that. My last child, she struggles with generalized anxiety, and she has a lot of stress around school and homework. And so she was 7 when she first floated. We've had children even younger than that float with an adult. So I put on a bathing suit, and she had a bathing suit on too. And I actually got into the float pool with her, and we kept a little light on, and I just relaxed her back and let her float for as long as she felt like she needed to. And she floated for about 45 minutes in the silence. Wow. And I was kind of walking her through breathing. I was walking her through trying to feel like a dolphin and kind of do some, deep exercises while she was in there. And after she got out, she sat up, and I said, well, how was it? And she said, Mommy, my brain feels calm, which was, as a parent, that's what you want for your child. So there's really been no age that you cannot float with a child, just making sure that, again, doctor approval, that they are supervised, and, that there's somebody there to care for them, or to at least sign off on watching them. But we've heard from other people who have floated with children that have autism, people who have sensory issues, children that have trouble sleeping because of anxiety. It's a wonderful practice and remedy for all of those. And then when you talk about kids that are in sports, and it's an incredible activity or I should say practice for sports recovery, because it helps to get them back on the field quickly. It helps to reduce inflammation and bruising, and it just relaxes muscles so that people can sleep better. And of course, your coaches and your kids will be happy to get back on the field right away.
Yeah, that's true. The magnesium is really good for the muscles too, like that. Yes. Amber wants to know if we have any tubs big enough for 2 people.
That's another frequent question. So there are places around the United States that do offer 2-person floats. We actually don't offer that. And here's the reason why. Not that we don't want to have you have, group pool time, but the whole purpose of this is to truly not have any sensory stimulation outside of what is happening with your body. So if you're in there together with 2 people, someone's going to bump into another person, someone's going to shift, someone might start giggling. And the whole point of being in a float tank is so that you can completely relax, and that you don't have any external stimuli that is interrupting what your brain is processing through. So we have the space that I'm in right now, we have a beautiful reception area and waiting area. We have a gorgeous quiet room that you can go and meet with friends or spouses or partners later. But we do recommend that, and it's the policy that we have it 1 at a time in your own private room.
So she also wants to know, she knows the water of the temperature is body temperature. What about the room itself? Is it too hot? Is it cold? What's the temperature of the room like? I
am really sensitive to temperatures. And I think that also people that struggle sometimes with sleep, with chronic pain, they're hyper alert to temperatures and sensitivities. So it is intentionally completely comfortable experience. The water temperature is 95 degrees, which is just about your body temperature. The air temperature is 85 degrees. So imagine the most perfect summer afternoon with no wind and no breeze. And so what happens is when you're in the float tank, your air temperature, your body temperature, and the water temperature all become identical. So you feel like you're floating in outer space, and you don't know where your body stops and the water begins. It's that perfect for most people.
That would be my concern, because when you get in the bathtub, the water eventually gets chilly, or whatever's exposed gets cold. So it sounds like it's a nice even.
Yeah. We have heaters that are attached to the motors and the pods themselves, and so it stays at a constant 95 degree temperature. Our air conditioning and ventilation and heating system within the rooms themselves also keep it at a very constant 85 degree temperature. So there's a real architecture behind the experience, just beyond what your brain and body are doing. We want to make sure that all of that stimuli, the light, the temperature, that nothing is interrupting your ability to really focus and allow your brain to do that work of cleansing.
Oh, wonderful. So you said you wanted to show us one of your floats. How about we do that?
Yep.
Show us the escape route.
Yep. Here we go. Let me take you around to where we go.
Sure, here.
So let me just tell you also that we have a little bit of a unique environment, in that a lot of float places that you might go to around the country feel like they might be, a tanning salon or something like that. Ours actually is designed to be a full spa experience. So we have 6 private rooms, and you can see behind me, and we have our housekeeping, because that's important to have sanitation, and you don't want to be swimming in somebody else's soup. So we clean the rooms in between every single float. And this is what we call our pod room. Now it's warm, so I hope that the camera doesn't fog up on me. But this is one of our float pods.
Oh, okay.
And you can see here the top comes down, but you don't have to have it come down. We do recommend it just to keep your body as warm as possible. But it's a beautifully appointed room. We are intentionally not putting a lot of pictures or mirrors or things like that on the wall because we want people to have a very quiet experience. But you'll see behind me that we have a gorgeous shower.
Yes.
It's your own private space, and it's instant hot, so you will never be standing dripping wet, freezing cold. But the idea behind the pod, and I'll show this to you a little bit more, is you get in, and we do recommend that you float in your skin. The reason for that is, and you're welcome to bring a bathing suit, but most people float in their skin so you can get all the benefits of the magnesium on your skin. Once your float begins, and we start the floats all at the same time so that everyone is quiet, the water filtration stops, and you can control turning the light on or turning the light off at your discretion. We also have very, very heavy doors that latch very securely so that there's no light noise or light filtration. And so you feel really secure being in a private space in this area. So we have a lot of hooks on the doors. We have a teak bench for you to sit down, a huge area where you can, put your bags and things like that. We also, for those people that really want to have some kind of music, which again, we don't recommend eventually, but we have a Bluetooth that you can listen to a guided meditation or quiet music if you'd like. But again, like I said, we recommend that you don't float with any noise or any light.
Good. So how do people know when the hour is up?
Yep, that's a great question. We have a computer system and an area at the front where we control your entire float experience. So from the time that you get in until the time you get out, you don't have to think about anything, which I don't want to think about anything ever. So we will wake you up or bring you back out of your float because you will hear some soft spa music come on. And that signals that you have 5 more minutes left. And then all of a sudden, the small light goes on in the pod. You saw the blue light. That will come on, and the filtration system will come back on and will start kind of rocking your body awake or back to coming back to, to reality, so to speak. So you don't have to worry about staying in there too long. We will make sure that your time is finished after that hour and your session is complete. After that, you have about 10 minutes to take a shower. We have a beautifully appointed bathroom space. Hair dryer is a vanity area because it's important to us that you go out as refreshed as you came in. And a lot of people want to go, grab a glass of wine with a friend, or they have to continue on to work. So we have made accommodations for everyone to be able to get completely dressed and ready to go for their day.
Oh, wonderful. It makes me want to come down and relax.
It's really nice. It's really nice.
So have you had any of your people talk about, we have issues with constipation with some of our people. Have you noticed, since they're floating in the Epsom salt, has anybody told you that that's helped get their flow going?
Yeah, right. So like you said, magnesium tends to be something that allows, all of your systems to loosen up or to not have a lot of things that are stuck. Regarding constipation specifically, I haven't had anyone probably share that openly with us. However, we have heard that it does, from people's stories and testimonials, that it does help relieve a lot of things that are, difficult to deal with, aches and pains and kinks and inflammation and things like that. It also is incredible for people who struggle with sleep and their sleep hygiene. They're waking up at night. They struggle with insomnia. Even as soon as your first float, people notice a difference in the way that they sleep all through the night. So I can't help but think, obviously I'm not a gastroenterologist, but that the combination of being able to relax, get a deep stretch, and the magnesium coming into your body subcutaneously will all help those processes flow a little bit better.
Wonderful. Well, it's been very, very informative, and I really appreciate you showing us the pod too. If you're listening on the podcast, you won't be able to see it, but it looks like a pod.
You know what? Let me do this for you. I'll even show you a picture. We also have, so in addition to the pods, we have 3 pools, and I don't know if your viewers can see this, but this is what one of our pools looks like.
It looks like a jacuzzi, kind of.
It almost looks like a jacuzzi. And what the reason for them, and we have 3 rooms that are built like this, they have no top on them, like the pod does. It's almost like a clamshell. The pools don't have any top on them. That's so that people who might struggle with claustrophobia or think that they might struggle with claustrophobia, or people who have a larger stature or a larger size, they don't feel quite as cramped and closed in. So, if you're a tall or a larger sized person and your frame is a little bit bigger, the pool is ideal for a first time floater. Some people get really attached to the pods, and then some people, we've got one of our clients that has a specific pool that she goes to, and she calls it Mr. Wednesday Night. So it's her favorite one. So yeah, it's just a matter of personal taste, and you can kind of try out different ones to see. And I can tell you pricing as well for your viewers that might be interested.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Our first floats are $45 for a first float. And then we also offer a membership that's about the same as just getting one massage. You can come float with us indefinitely. So we have a $109 membership, and that gives you an unlimited amount of floats for per month.
Oh, wow. That's a great deal, I think.
Yeah.
Back to your size of your pods. What is the maximum size you can go? Like 6'5" guy, how tall can they
We've
be?
had elite athletes that are football and basketball float with us. So, I wouldn't say the sky is the limit, but we've been able to fit the tallest people you can imagine have comfortably fit in our pools.
Oh, okay. And then what about the pods?
The pods, we usually recommend somebody 6 foot or under. There are people that push that 6 foot limit that go in our pods very comfortably, but most of the people that are over 6 feet tall like to use the pools.
Wonderful.
We also have handles around our pools so that people can get in easily. And that's one of the things. Salt is a very viscous liquid. And so we want to make sure nobody slips. We have nonstick floors, but we do have handles for people to be able to hold on to get in and out safely.
Well, wonderful. This has been a very informative podcast. I really appreciate your information. It was very good. Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with our audience today?
I do. So, anything that's kind of a new practice, I know for some people, it may feel real hippy dippy trippy to be like, I'm going to go float in a salty bath for an hour. But what I want to tell your viewers is to let them know that anything that they can do that is a simple way to help with chronic pain, to be able to help with sleeplessness, to help with anxiety and stress, and to just give you a little bit more of me time is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And we've created a very accessible, easy, comfortable way for you to push the reboot button on your brain and to really be able to give back to the people who are important in your life. So you are taking care of them, like putting your oxygen mask on in the airplane first, and then being able to help the other people around you. This is a great way to do that.
I think this would be perfect for our moms and dads. It's sometimes when I'm here working on the babies, I notice a mom might be kind of dozing off in the corner because it's really quiet sometimes in that room when I'm working.
Yeah, come use us for a nap. If you're a nursing parent and you don't get any sleep and you've got deprivation going on, you just come and float with us and fall asleep, and we'll take real good care of you.
There you go. Before we sign off, how about your location? I don't think we've mentioned that.
Yep. Online. We are in the heart of downtown Indianapolis. We are just 1 block west of Lucas Oil, and we have our own dedicated parking spaces in a lot next to us. So it's a real easy off the freeway and very easy to get in and out of our building. You don't have to pay for parking at all. And we are open 7 days a week. There are some weekends that we have shortened hours, but on Monday through Friday, we're open from 7 in the morning to 7 o'clock at 7 o'clock at night is our last float. We close at 9. So really, we try to accommodate all times and all days of the week.
Wonderful. And again, if you don't see it online, it's called aplacetofloat.com. Very simple to find.
It's as easy as I was telling Dr. Nancy, it's as easy as 5 Hour Energy. It says exactly what it is, aplacetofloat.com.
Well, it sounds wonderful. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your business with us. I think it sounds amazing, and I've never done it, so I'm definitely going to do it now for sure. So,
yes, you are welcome to come float with us. We'd love to have you anytime.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day. And again, thanks again for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you.